Good afternoon. My name is Buffy, and you are tuned in to the Recovering Perfectionist Mama Grace in Progress podcast. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I'm Buffy. I'm a women's lifestyle creator on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, covering a myriad of topics that concern women, such as motherhood, such as marriage and relationships, such as health and wellness, such as spirituality, self-empowerment, self-improvement, the micro gut biome, biohacking, functional fitness. Essentially, my whole goal is to learn useful topics for women so that they can level up, so they can take the tips and tricks that I go over in some of these podcasts and live their best life. Live the life that they deserve, that their families deserve, and showing their children that having a good life is possible, especially with some life hacks, because in this particular day and time, social media does have one ultimate good, and that is spreading information, spreading positive information. Does it also spread negative information? Absolutely. But I'm choosing to focus on the positive aspect of social media. So today we are going to talk about something that is often hard to implement, especially for me, because I'm a people pleaser sometimes. And that is boundaries that breathe, saying no without guilt. The second part and the first part are both equally difficult. I don't know how many of you can relate to that. I know I struggle with saying no even when I don't want to. I often begrudgingly accept and then regret it later, but I kind of suffer in silence. I don't know if a lot of you have that people-pleasing quality as well. And if so, you know what I'm talking about, where you don't really want to do it, but you almost feel obligated. So, have you ever said yes when every fiber of your being wanted to say no? You're not alone. Today, we're diving into how to set boundaries and breathe. Boundaries that protect your time, energy, and relationships without the weight of guilt. And I often feel guilty. I also have another podcast episode on guilt. So if you're interested in that, you might want to look into that, as well as intuitive eating. This is actually going to be, I believe, my 20th episode that I've recorded. So, woo! So let's talk about understanding boundaries. We hear that word a lot, but I'm not sure that we fully have heard like the definition. I mean, we know what they are, but oftentimes we don't implement them. I don't know if hearing the definition is going to make it easier to implement or not. For me, maybe not. I don't know yet. So what are boundaries? Think of them as invisible lines that define where you end and others begin. Emotionally, mentally, and physically. Meaning you have certain things that you're not willing to do, right? That you don't want to for whatever reason. And it's not that you owe someone an explanation when you say no, because no is a complete sentence, is it not? Absolutely. It is. And so I actually went through a period of time where I was getting, I was getting suggestions on how to say no. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. That's really not going to work for me. What? Some of the most outrageous requests that you may be given. One of my favorite things to use is, what? And oftentimes that will actually stop the person in their tracks, because they're like, oh, that is a request that she is literally like, what did you just say? Kind of like when we were kids and we said outlandish things to our parents, and our parents were like, what did you just say? Now the question is, how brave are you as a child at that point? Are you the child who is oblivious and repeats exactly what you just said? Or are you the child who stops that split second and takes inventory and says, never mind, right? So which child were you at that point? Maybe ask yourself that. And why boundaries matter. Boundaries prevent burnout, resentment, and relationship strain. Because ultimately, if we're continued to ask to do things for people over and over and over and over and over again, for instance, I have at certain times created several, and I mean several resumes. I've done things for people that I haven't wanted to do and that people haven't reciprocated when I've made requests, right? And no one wants to be the continual giver to someone who's not willing to help you out when you need help in a pinch. That they just ask. And I'm not saying that I'm not a generous person. I love to give to people. I love to help people. But ultimately, it's not fair to be in a one-sided relationship. No one wants to be in that one-sided giving part of the relationship when someone just wants to continue to take from you. And I think I've also referenced like energy vampires before. So that's kind of what those people are. And so boundaries are to protect you. They're not to keep people out, but they're to keep you safe, you protected, you validated, you respected in some ways. And also, boundaries create mutual respect and allow genuine connection. It's not about what you can do for someone. It's about the relationship that you have, the trust that you build. So types of boundaries. Physical. A lot of us, especially in the United States, other countries think that our physical boundaries are very large, given that a lot of them are from smaller countries, so they're not into the boundary, some of the physical boundaries that we maintain. I've had more than one occasion where I've had another individual that I'm on the opposite side of in a job that I'm doing. And they are literally like right on top of me. And I mean, I don't mean literally, but I'm saying like, it's like right there. And I'm a person that enjoys my personal space. I don't like people that I don't know touching me. I don't like to be super close to other people. I like to have my space. And some of that might stem from my trauma, for instance. I don't like to just, have people like in my face touching me and, like coming up behind me and things just not for me. And so for me, physical boundaries are very important. Also, emotional boundaries are equally as important, sometimes more so given, life experiences that you've experienced and things like that. So protecting your feelings, avoiding emotional dumping, and I tend to be a person who has people like, oh my goodness, you look so familiar to me. Like, I feel like I've known you forever. Like, I'm having this issue, and oftentimes I will honor to listen to that person because I always feel like there's people out there that are so lonely, and it makes me so sad to see that and to have no one listen to them. So I am the person who has often had scenarios where I know what it's like to be talking to someone and them not listen. And I know we all have had that experience. And I remember how hurtful it is. So I try to honor people when I can by listening to what they have to say. If no one else is going to listen, I'm going to listen. I'm going to have that connection with you. I'm going to try to honor you and show you that you are a worthy person. You are a person that is loved. You are valuable. Because ultimately, I think that there are a lot of people in our world right now that are suffering, that are hurt, that have no one. And it breaks my heart in two because I thank God that I have people that look out for me because not everyone does. So, time and energy. Saying no to tasks or events that deplete you. And we only have, that's a limited resource for us. Our time and our energy are limited resources. And we need to be using those things for things that we want to do, that will build us up, that will lift us up. Not things that take away from us and our family and our spouses and the limited resources that we do have in time and energy. Also, digital, screen time, social media availability. We can't be on social media and being digital like constantly. You have to set boundaries there as well. So the guilt trap. Isn't that always the rub, the guilt trap? Where guilt comes from. Many women have been conditioned to feel guilty. I always feel guilty when I don't do something that someone wants me to do. I feel like I've let them down in a big way. I feel like I should do more. I feel like I need to take bigger responsibilities. But I often have this thing where I take on things that don't belong to me. And I know that many of you probably do the same thing because you have a loving heart, a giving heart, but you don't realize your own limitations. The amount of time that you have is limited. The amount of strength you have is also limited, right? It's a very finite amount. And so many women are taught to be caregivers and pleasers. And I fit into that. I like to take care of people. I like to show people love. I like to show people and acknowledge them, right? And I also don't like to say no because I don't want people to not like me. I'm getting better at that. And which is why I had to, when I said earlier, I had to have a conversation about how to say no. Because although I knew that no was a complete sentence, it still was difficult to say. And also fear of disappointing others. No one likes to be the one that has to say no and disappoint someone. But we can reframe guilt. Guilt is a signal, not a stop sign. It is I'm sorry, I can't. Saying no means you're saying yes to your own well-being and your priorities and your families and your spouses or significant other and your other family members because you have people counting on you as well. Let's do a little bit of a mini reflection here and talk about, is this guilt because I'm doing something wrong or because I'm breaking an old pattern? And I've talked about in several other podcasts about the well-worn path. And for me, the well-worn path is saying yes, even when I don't want to, begrudgingly, because I want to be a people pleaser. I want to be liked. I want to be able to make other people happy, to take care of them, to put them in a better situation than when I found them. Next, let's talk about practical strategies to set boundaries that breathe. First, you have to clarify. Identify what truly matters. Think about your non-negotiables. Sleep, family time, creative work, right? And you don't have to do it all at once. You can start small. You can practice with low-stakes situations, like declining a coffee meetup when you need rest. I'm sorry, I would love to have coffee. I love coffee by all means, but I can't today. I'm exhausted. I've got a lot going on. I have a work deadline. Anything that would keep you from having that coffee burnout and reason. And just say, hey, I'm sorry. Maybe we can do a rain check again sometime soon because I would love to do that. I would love to get together and catch up over coffee, but I just can't at this current moment. And I'm sorry, but rain check, please. And also you can use kind, direct language. Thanks for thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now. Or I appreciate the invite, but I need to focus on family tonight. Or the pause technique. Instead of an automatic yes, which I used to just automatically, I can do that. I can do that. And then, oh my gosh, then the moment hits me, I'm like, oh my goodness, like I've got so much other stuff going on. Like, what am I let me check my schedule and get back to you, which is definitely fair and reasonable. And then also the boundary maintenance. Repeat and reinforce kindly. People may test limits until they adjust. If they're used to you saying yes to everything, it's going to be almost like a whoa, like hitting a brick wall. Like, why is she now saying, I need to check my schedule? I'm not able to do that. I'm not able to commit to that. Like she used to always say yes before. Does she not like me anymore? Does she not? And hopefully you have the kind of relationship with that person that you can say, look, I've been really stressed. I've got some things going on. I just need some time right now. I've overcommitted before and I'm just trying to take a step back and just not say yes to so many things and get frazzled and neglect some of the obligations that I have right now. Nothing against you. I still like you. I still want to do stuff with you if that's how you're feeling. But right now, I just am trying to be smarter about my acceptance of obligations. And then also think about the different relationships that you have. What kind of boundaries do you have in different relationships? Family. I mean, handling repeated drop-ins. For instance, I have a relative, we have 5 children, and I have a relative who literally wants to drop in like late at night, right? I do homeschool. Yes, I do have that freedom. However, my kids, when this relative leaves, are literally like, oh my goodness, it's like they're wired. They're running, and of course that relative just slips out the door and walks away, like not helping, because they've literally riled the kids up. And so it is something that my spouse and I have talked about and we've discussed, and we're aware of it. And so we have been kind of like, okay, well, like the kids kind of need to start going to bed at a certain hour. Especially we have a son who's taking one class at the school. So we kind of have to kind of rein that in a little bit. You can't just show up at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I mean, most kids are sleeping at 9, 10 o'clock at night. So we need to not do that. And also in a workplace, for instance, protect your personal time, avoiding constant availability. I mean, if your boss is one who's like messaging you like on holidays and weekends and wanting you to do more, I mean, ultimately, yes, they are your boss, but at the same time, your personal time is your time away from work, right? And you have to be able to find a way to bridge the always being the best employee, always being available, always doing their bidding, because you're just wearing yourself out. And friendships, saying no to draining dynamics, while preserving healthy connections. You really can't just expect me to drop everything every time you have a crisis. I'm sorry. I love you. I want to be there for you. And I will be there for you. But currently right now, I'm working on, I'm sorry. I'm there. I will be there. I still love you. I still want to help you. But at this current time, like I'm kind of bound by something right now. I got to take care of my son because he's sick, or, any other number of reasons why you're unable to drop everything at a certain moment. And I think people need to understand that and respect that. Also parenting. We need to model boundaries that show kids how to respect their limits. And that's probably something that I'm learning now as a mother, that I am limited. We are all limited on time, on effort, on energy. We can't take everything on. And I'm a person who has tried to take everything on for far too long. And I know a lot of you are very similar to that. And now let's talk about self-care and mindset shifts. Affirmations for boundary confidence. My needs are valid. Saying no allows me to show up fully for the yeses that matter. Releasing the good girl narrative. You can be kind and firm. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be nasty. You don't have to yell at anyone. You just say, no, thank you, but I appreciate the offer. Celebrating progress. Each healthy no is a yes to authenticity. Boundaries are not walls. They're doors you choose to open or close. The more you honor your own limits, the more space you create for meaningful yeses and deeper relationships. Breathe, pause, and trust yourself. Boundaries are a love language for yourself. I love that. Learn how to say no without guilt and create space for the yeses that matter most. Share this episode with a friend who's learning to set healthy boundaries, and let's normalize saying no with confidence and compassion. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to leave me a comment or have an idea for a show like a podcast topic, I'm recovering_perfectionist_mama on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you'll tune in again here soon. It was great to be able to share the boundaries with you. And if you're struggling with those, keep pushing. You got it.